All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. All right, so in today's live stream, we'll go over what happened last week, what we can expect this week from the market, and then we'll play a few games of chess. Let me just make sure my mic is working. Give me just a second. Let me make sure my mic is working. Play a few games of chess. Let me just make sure. All right, looks like my mic is working. Looks like my mic is working. All right, so let's talk about what happened last week and how that will affect this week. So last week we got our first Fed rate cut since December of 2024. So the U.S. Federal Reserve cut interest rates by 25 basis points. So now the range between rates is 4% to 4.25%. Before it was 4.25% to 4.5%. Its first cut since December, like we said. So it was largely expected, but what markets were watching was the tone and how dovish or hawkish the Fed was going to go forward. Yeah, so since the Federal Reserve rate cut was priced in, people weren't really waiting for that news because they knew it was going to come out, but they were waiting on what Federal Jerome Powell would say about upcoming rate cuts and things like that. And from the discussion, it looks like that we will most likely be getting an additional 2 rate cuts this year. I think their next meeting, I said my last live stream, I said October, but I think their next meeting is in November, and then they have another one in December. So we could potentially get 2 rate cuts, one in November, one in December, and most likely it'll probably be 25 basis points apiece because they're probably trying to spread it out. But yeah, that's kind of what people were paying attention to. Okay, so number 2, it says risk on sentiment and relief rally. So it says tech stocks led the gains in Europe. U.S. equities rose. Investors cheered the cut, and certain risk assets got a boost. Yeah, so the crypto market definitely saw a boost. I mean, this weekend it's taking a slight dip. And I was predicting that too. If you guys listened to my last live stream, I was basically saying that since it was priced in that we were going to get a rate cut, if the news or the discussions after he announced that weren't as bullish for upcoming rate cuts, we'll most likely see some type of sell-off, and then in the next week or two, we'll probably push back. So it's going to be interesting to see how we open up tomorrow and how it affects the market. I think going into the end of September, it's going to be really bullish for crypto. I think right now we're kind of like in this consolidation phase. Most people were saying that September was going to be a bearish month, and so far it's been pretty positive for crypto. Now, it hasn't been super we did bounce back from that 111, 112 mark. Currently, Bitcoin is sitting at 115.7. So bounce back 3,000. We're only $6,000 away from our all-time high. So could see that happen pretty soon, us bouncing back to that area. And then a lot of people are waiting for Ethereum to confirm its breakout and sustain that. Because remember, we hit 4,900, but it briefly touched that, and then we fell back down to 4,400, 4,500. So, yeah, I mean, the market's overall holding up pretty good. If I look at the indices and how they ended Friday, so it looks like the NASDAQ ended up positive. The New York Stock Exchange was slightly down, and then the Dow Jones was up. You had things like Apple was up, and I'm just looking at stocks that I have on my watch list. Nike was down, Verizon was down, Dell was down a little bit. Intel's actually making a good push, so it looks like Nvidia recently made an investment in Intel. I think it was like in the billions, but I honestly think Intel is one of those companies that I was saying it before, but it's going to be one of those companies that it's here to stay, and it's very critical to chips, AI chips, and computing power. And I think honestly, they're probably one of the only chip makers here in the U.S., right, or one of the most prominent ones. So Intel's here to stay. They got to deal with the government, with the NVIDIA partnership, the new CEO. I think it's just going to be positive for that stock going forward. The same with Dell. Dell's building out a lot of data centers and things like that, helping out with that front. So I think it's going to be very. It's AI is going to be one of the main narratives in the next, for the next few years, in my opinion. All right, what else here? It says crypto reacted. Bitcoin rose 4% over the weekend, helped by hopes of more Fed rate cuts. Yep. What to watch for this week. All right. So let's see what we need to watch for this week. Further Fed central bank communication. Markets want clarity on how many more rate cuts to expect, how aggressively and under what conditions, and any hawkish signal could pull risk assets back. Now, I don't know if there's any meetings, maybe some meeting minutes or something like that will come out this week, but I don't think there's any additional Fed meetings coming up this week. Now, maybe people will be paying attention to that Fed Watch tool to see the percentages and how likely it is for us to get that rate cut in November. What else? So economic data, jobs, inflation, retail, U.S. inflation, employment numbers, consumer spending will test whether easing is sustainable. And I really think we got those numbers for September. Now we're probably be waiting for October to get those numbers. Earnings, especially in tech. So maybe some earnings. It doesn't say which companies. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. For the most part, everything's pretty much stable, positive that we got that rate cut. We just need to see what happens here and how the markets react going forward. Most likely we'll get 2 additional ones this year and potentially some more rate cuts next year. Now, we do have midterm elections next year. And again, people want to make sure that the market looks good during midterm elections. So that way, it's one of those, things on their resume that they could point to their voters to say, okay, here, the market's good under us. Let's vote for me, right? And the fact that midterm elections are in November, it just kind of it's kind of following the cycle. So BTC crypto mostly would top out end of this year, beginning of next year, and it will most likely go into a mild recession. A lot of people have been calling for a mild recession. I think we get those rate cuts November and December, and we'll probably have a pause in rate cuts. It's almost similar to last year, right? So last year we stopped rate cuts in December, and we didn't get a rate cut until this month. So I think that's going to happen next year, and they're going to save those rate cuts. Maybe they'll give one more in January, and then, by the time we get to July, right around those midterm elections, I think they'll start cutting rates again, so that way the market could look good. I think that's just what's going to happen. But, we got to see. All right, so that's pretty much update of the market. Let's play some chess, and yeah, I'll play a few games here. All right, buddy, hurry up. Oh, Lord. That was not good. Um, that was bad. Oh, actually, I get my piece back. So it's really not that bad. Actually, no, I don't get my piece back, I don't think. Yeah, because he'll block with there. And then... lost that piece. Annoying. Darn it. I still think I'm going to win this, actually. Because he's moving very slow. I think I'm going to win this. Yeah, I think I got this. Yeah, there's no way he's going to win here. Wow, I won that. Good stuff. All right. First W of the game. Mm-hmm. Nope. Darn it. Well, I can save it like that. Oof. Hmm. Yeah, I can't do that. Um. Let's do this. Darn it. I just gotta move quick. That's all I need to do. And I think I won this game too. Oof. Won again. Clutch. Just clutch play. All right. Let me do one more and that'll be it. All right. darn it. I could have had a free piece. If I do this, it should be okay. Hmm. Hmm. Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. Um, ah, that was my bad there. I goofed off. Let me resign. I want a rematch because I know I can beat him. If not, that would be the end of it. All right, 2 out of 3 is not bad. Okay, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so basically we want to see what this interest rate cut, this recent one is what is it going to do to the market this week? I think it's going to be telling going into the end of September. I think October is going to be really bullish for the market. And yeah, just have to wait and see. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.